Hello, Saskia here from Devotional Goddess. Today I'm speaking about depletion. How are you doing? Personally, I've been dealing with some vertigo and I know it's depletion, and Ayurvedically we say that's vata out of balance. So what do I need to do to create more grounding, more steadiness, and improve on my self-care habits? We've been in this quarantine for a while now. We've been juggling a lot for a while, and it may well be taking its toll. Some things are becoming more familiar. There may be a little more ease around some things, but there's also the reality that we have been stretched and being asked to stretch beyond what we normally do, in addition to what we normally do. Even though, some of what we normally do has fallen away. All that travel, all that extra movement, and the juggling of appointment to appointment in physical locations has changed. But are you feeling depleted? How? Take a moment to stop and acknowledge that. It is in the acknowledgement of our depletion, of our fatigue, that we can reassess. It's not to wallow in the pity of it, even though that is valid for a few minutes, but not to stay there. But then to assess, how can I better self-care? How can I improve on this situation so that I don't go deeper into depletion? So for me, I need to up my water intake. I haven't been drinking enough. Again, we're out of our routines. We know we need water. My chiropractor I visited last week said he's noticing more and more people being dehydrated, and not taking in enough water. So keep that water bottle by your side. Make sure you're drinking. Make sure you're taking in your liquids. And are you consistently going to bed on time? I'm clearly not. And I need to get to bed earlier. Even though, when the girls are but asleep, sometimes I do just want to clean up, pick up, get some things done. I do not go behind the computer. Rarely. Sometimes I do, but rarely I go behind the computer. So I do encourage you in the evenings, I've spoken about it in a past video, not to go behind the computer or sit behind your phone, past 7, 8 o'clock. Because again, it lights up that the frontal cortex of the brain, and it reawakens us. And it really is a time where we want to slow down, and do less. And get to bed 9:30, 10 o'clock. Having those meals, I need to steer clear of my sugars, because I know those are my nurturing moments. Nurturing, not really very nurturing, but for my psyche, I think it is comforting. But for my physical body, it's like, no, you know better. That's not optimal. For some, it's alcohol. Enjoy a glass of wine or whatever your favorite drink is, but be mindful of how much and to what extent does it cross over from being nurturing or helping you to downgrade to numbing. And that's different for each of us. But just hold that in your consciousness so that you are aware and you cultivate a greater awareness of how what it is we do, just as with my sugar, which alcohol is the same as sugar, it has the same effect ultimately on the physical body, and it becomes depleting. To what effect is it comforting and nurturing, and when do I personally cross over in having too much sugar? Because often when you've sampled the substance, whatever it is, the corn chips, the potato chips, the sugar, the caffeine, the alcohol, whatever our vice is, it can cross over to no longer being nurturing, but then more just desire filled, of wanting more of that substance that satiates us in a momentary moment, but not in the long run. It doesn't truly serve us in the larger scope of it. And then the other aspect of the depletion, of course, is how much are we trying to juggle, and what is it that we need to release and let go? And who do we need to distance ourselves from? Because fear has different forms. For some, it is retreat. For others, when they're consumed with fear, it can come out as aggression and badgering and unpleasant dialogue and rudeness and it can come out in various forms. And if you have people in your surroundings that are coming across aggressive, that are coming across with blame and anger and resentment, try to shield yourself from them. We can't always walk away. We can't always cut them out of our lives. But what steps can you personally take to shielding yourself so that your energy doesn't get tapped and depleted by them? A friend of mine recently gave me some wonderful advice. I had a rather aggressive and unpleasant email come on my path. And to respond to that email just continues to put fuel to the fire, because it would just continue to go back and forth, and I don't want to entertain in that. But she did say, respond to it line by line and keep it for yourself, so that I have the opportunity to speak up and to respond in appropriate manner. But I know that if I sent it, it would fall on deaf ears, and it wouldn't be worth my time to send it out. But what is worth my time is taking the time to take my power back and respond line by line and allow myself to be assertive. And should this conversation arise again, rather than getting overwhelmed with the response, I have greater clarity in how to respond appropriately and how to respond to one or two key points. One of the very helpful words of wisdom from this dear friend. And speaking of friends, I have retreated to just connecting to 2 or 3 friends, because I don't have the personal bandwidth to sustain many more interactions. And even with them, it might be once a week. So whom are you interacting with? Are they supporting you and assisting you in raising your vibration, raising your frequency? Or are they pulling you down with their fear? And if you are able to support them, can they hear it, or do they perpetuate that fear dialogue? Are they ready to make a change? Are they ready to consciously shift their consciousness? And if so, then keep them in your lives. But if you find that they are pulling you down and drawing and draining your energy, then again, start to take some distance and really be selective as to whom you're communicating with. We need to self-preserve. We need self-preservation. Find the people who are there to support you mentally, physically, and emotionally. And invite them in. And support each other in helping us raise our frequency. This will be a very powerful tool that we can cultivate at this time. Check into your breath. Listen to your heart. Take time for yourself. I began to say to my girls, Mama needs time out now. And they get it. Because I've asked them to have time out, and they've resisted, of course, because it feels like a punishment. So I turned the tables onto me and said, no, Mama needs time out now. You need to go play together or go play individually on your own. You're very good at that. And I just reinforce the positive, but pull back, especially when I know that my bandwidth is stretched and that I'm losing patience, or I feel that they're pulling at me and I really just don't have it to give in that moment. And that I need a moment for myself to regain my composure. It is valid that we say, no, I need time for me. And for others to hear that, receive that, and rechannel their energy. This is all about that self-care. Speaking up for ourselves and saying, no, now is my time. And that may mean in that simple action of not picking up the phone, of not engaging in conversation at that time. Thank you for your time. I hope this is helpful. Many blessings.